No doubt, we all have our favorite characters from beloved television series, but the Stranger Things fandom is like no other. Welcome and welcome back to the #1 home for film and television lovers everywhere. Today we're taking a look at some of the most iconic characters from Netflix's hit series Stranger Things and how the fandom received them.
Oh Jesus, we're so screwed if it's the Demogorgon.
It's not the Demogorgon.
We scoured the web to find our most hated and most loved regulars. Though each season introduces a slew of new characters, some are just too wicked to live, and some are too sweet to let die.
Did you guys hear that?
If you're new to the Stranger Things world, then we're going to give an obvious spoiler alert right here. Now let's get to it. The most hated characters according to fans. Number 9. Nancy Wheeler. We're a little conflicted here. Nancy isn't the worst character, but she also isn't the best. She's indecisive, impulsive, and a little annoying. We understand she's a teenager, but her bad decisions and sometimes cruel treatment towards Steve make it hard to fully love her.
Their lives looking for her.
I know.
It's destroying them.
No, I know.
She has grown significantly and often proves herself to be stronger than what people think, including her sexist bosses at the Hawkins Post. But she falls flat when it comes to personal choices. Her character often fluctuates, but she's better than her new boyfriend, who's next up. Number 8. Jonathan Byers. Jonathan is the quiet kid with a slightly unhealthy obsession for resident good girl Nancy.
Nancy! Oh, come on, the light!
Remember those inappropriate pictures in Season 1? Yeah, Jonathan's weakness is understandable until it gets others in danger. His inability to act in 2 high-pressure situations in Season 1 and 2 only cemented his whiny kid status. Then there's the relationship with Nancy, which fizzled out for us after Season 2 started.
I just don't know if this is such a good idea anymore.
Thankfully, he redeemed himself by Season 3 with the Body Snatchers. He's like his new girlfriend Nancy. Not too bad, but not great either. Number 7. Mr. Wheeler. He's a character who induces eye-rolling and head-slapping whenever he's on screen. This guy needs to seriously get a clue. His children are chasing supernatural beings while his wife is fishing for affairs with teenagers.
And when you see Mike, tell him to come home already, okay?
Goodness. Get a grip, Mr. Wheeler. Number 6. Troy. This kid. Wow. The literal worst. He incessantly bullied Mike, Lucas, and Dustin throughout Season 1. We all thought he was your average bully who loved to pick on the most vulnerable kids in school. Then he started making fun of a presumed dead child. Yuck. Eleven got a little revenge when she made him pee himself.
Dude, Troy peed himself.
But Troy took things too far when he held a knife to Dustin and forced Mike to jump into the same quarry that Will allegedly died in. This turned Troy from a simple bully with some serious home issues into a true sadist. That scene made us want to jump through the screen and give this kid a serious spanking. Luckily, 11 had a better idea. One of the most iconic scenes ever. Number 5. Lonnie Byers. This crass, homophobic, verbally abusive deadbeat isn't higher up on the list simply because he wasn't around long enough to do any more damage. When Will is presumed to be dead, the slimy deadbeat comes around to falsely grieve. Joyce discovers that he's only here for the money, and she kicks him back to the gutter that he crawled out of. Even Jonathan takes a lick at this loser. We hope to never see him again. Will has enough father figures disappearing. He doesn't need this guy to add to his aggravation. Number 4. Billy. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree when Billy first sped his muscle car into town. We knew he'd be trouble. Rude, belligerent, bigoted, racist, and pretty gross. Billy was one of the most infuriating characters of Seasons 2 and 3.
Breaststroke.
His unmerited hate for Lucas, the only black kid in the core gang, and the constant violence and screaming was the tipping point. He fell into pure enemy territory when he put his hands on Steve Harrington. We wanted to take a nail-studded bat to his gut. When he got possessed by the Mind Flayer, fans were whispering chants that would enable his death. His character was seemingly redeemed when he sacrificed himself, but we still have a hard spot in our hearts whenever we rewatch the show. Number 3. Papa. Anybody who willingly sanctions and funds child abuse is pretty high on the hate list. Mr. Brenner was the child kidnapping, mother electrocuting, sleazeball head of Hawkins' lab. He's to blame for the gate to the Upside Down being opened, the Soviets that ended up in Hawkins in Season 3, Will's disappearance, and Barb's death. His twisted, manipulative, Svengali-like relationship with Elle was just as creepy as his cold, hard stare. He died at the hands of the Demogorgon, and a collective cheer was heard around the world. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Number 2. Billy's dad. Right up there with murdering pseudoscientists are abusive, toxic masculinity-enhanced parental figures. Billy's dad is the absolute gutter of human existence. He's the worst of the worst in that he corrupts children. Billy could have been a completely different man if his father had been halfway decent.
Find Max.
He's mentally, emotionally, and physically abusive, intolerant, and aggressive. If Billy hadn't sacrificed himself at Starcourt Mall, he most likely would have killed his despicable father. We wouldn't have blamed him either. Number 1. Grigori. What else can we say about the Terminator-style villain? We hate him. He killed Alexei, who we were starting to really like. He's also responsible for separating Elle and her new father, Jim Hopper.
Because you're a policeman. Policemen have rules.
Grigori is just trash. We're glad he was taken out before he did any more damage. At least we hope so. The most loved characters according to fans. Number 11. Bob. It really sucked when Joyce's new happiness was killed off by demo dogs. He might have been cringy, and maybe his advice for Will wasn't the best, but Bob had such a clean heart.
You drew all these? Yourself?
He also helped the gang figure out what the Mind Flayer was up to. Justice for Bob. Number 10. Erica. You can't spell America without Erica, and you don't forget that. Erica gives us the comedic relief and snarky commentary we all love.
Like I said, I don't know and I don't care.
Please tell him
She's upfront and very confident. Her role in Season 3 was more prominent, and we loved it. She was the perfect addition to Steve, Robin and Dustin's ice cream-eating, Russian butt-busting gang. Number 9. Will Byers. Ah yes, the boy who lived. Sorry, wrong story. Everything from his wide eyes to naive notions makes Will one of the most beloved characters of the show.
I don't know. Came for me.
He's kind to everyone and never wants to cause problems for his friends or his loyal mom and brother. He's also not the most charismatic or vocal of the group, which gives him the wallflower relatability most viewers can connect with. Will's growth is pretty fun to watch. Number 8. Max Mayfield. Most of the time, when big shows add new characters, it's never as great as the original ensemble. When Mad Max Mayfield skateboarded into Hawkins,
What could you do, like magic tricks or something?
she was just what we needed. She doesn't take any crap from the boys, and even joins the party despite Mike's initial hatred of her. Max becomes a core group member when she sees her first demo dog. She even stands up to her abusive brother and saves Steve from a seriously brutal beating. Her character becomes more fun when she and Eleven become best buds. It's so great to see Elle have a female friend she can do cool teen girl stuff with. Plus, she brings out the bravery in her boyfriend Lucas really well. Number 7. Elle, aka Eleven. The psionically gifted star of the show couldn't be any more likable. Her character's growth has been phenomenal. From the moment we saw her soaked and shaking in the woods, we felt a keen sense to protect her, and so did the gang. Her relationship with Hopper deepened our fondness for her character even more. Seeing her go from only trusting kids to placing her life in Hopper's hands, despite her previously abusive relationship with father figures, is priceless. Elle constantly evolves and pushes the story forward with grace, finesse, and a bleeding nose. Number 6. Lucas. His dry wit and quick reasoning aren't the only reason we absolutely love Lucas Sinclair. Though he may have been weary of Eleven in the beginning, it was due to his deep love and appreciation of his friends.
They're in love.
No, actually they're not. They don't even exist on the same...
He's always thinking ahead, and his bravery has really grown, especially in Season 2 and 3. He's not shy when it comes to opening up either. With a slingshot in hand and a Rambo-style bandana in his head, Lucas is the friend we all wish we had in school. Plus, his chemistry with the core group members is unmatched, and he's Mad Max's boyfriend, so extra points there. Number 5. Jim Hopper. You don't mess with Jim. Small-town police chief Jim Hopper is at icon status now. He's rough, intuitive, instinctive, and he suffers no fools. Despite his annoyed demeanor when it comes to the core gang of kids, there is nothing he wouldn't do for them.
I'm gonna get fat. It's very unhealthy to leave me out here.
His character growth has been tremendous and tragic at the same time. He even looks out for Elle at the end of Season 1, believing she is still out there. With Netflix confirming that Hop is still alive, we can dry our tears and see what the coolest dad of the 80s has in store for us. Number 4. Dustin. One half of the most dynamic duo in recent history is Dustin. He's sweet, smart, and very curious. Okay, he may have messed up a little in the Muse situation, but his gentle nature towards Dart ended up saving the gang in a big way.
It's from Lord of the Rings.
The Hobbit.
It doesn't matter.
He asked.
Dustin also reminds viewers of themselves when they were younger. Inquisitive, a little socially awkward, and very vulnerable. He's grown in bravery, and even though he might scream like a high-pitched gecko, he always rolls up his sleeves and gets the job done. Number 3, Mike Wheeler. Leader of the core gang and best friend to Will Byers, Mike is not someone you mess with. He might be small, but when his friends are in trouble, he springs into action.
I like the new look, by the way. It's cool.
Thanks.
His persistence and disregard for authority often work in his and his friends' favors. He was relentless in finding Will. He also sweetly protected Eleven, and much like Hopper, he didn't give up on her even after her death in Season 1. Mike is loyal, witty, sharp, and resourceful. He might have a bit of a chip on his shoulder in Season 2, but his arc is rich with development and depth. Number 2, Steve Harrington. Who doesn't love Steve the Hair Harrington? He may have been a bit of a jerk in half of Season 1, but he was just trying to be cool. Steve's character arc is one of the best of the show.
Don't. I won't. He's only gonna break your heart and you're way too young for that shit.
When he decides to be the better man and take a whack at the disgusting Demogorgon with fast moves and fearless tact, we know we were in love. Steve's chemistry with the kids is also unbeatable. He's one of the few teenagers who can hang out with the younger cast without taking away from the experience. His big brother relationship with Dustin is also pretty sweet, and it goes into overdrive in Season 3. Number 1, Joyce Byers. What else can we say about a mom who doesn't take no for an answer? Joyce Byers might be a little neurotic, but it was her persistence that led to Will being found alive. He would have suffered a fate much like Barb had his mother followed the wide road of grief and acceptance.
Can a single person in this room tell me what is wrong with my boy?
Joyce always listens to her instincts and her children. In our humble opinion, she's one of the strongest female characters on television right now. She's smarter than she thinks, and she's sharp, and she stays on her toes. She's also wise about the men she brings around her kids, having learned from her experience with Lonnie years ago. She makes us want to watch Season 1 all over again. Well, there you have it. What do you think? Who's your favorite character? Do you have any standalone moments that made Stranger Things your favorite show?
I went back and watched the tape, and there were some older kids picking on Will.
Be sure to let us know how you feel in the comments, and if you had a blast reminiscing on these characters, then give us a big thumbs up and subscribe so we can see you in the next video.